Hello. Hey, so I have to say, I didn't. This is not a video I expected you to make. I guess it may sound a little weird talking about someone who shared our proposal video with us. Arguably one of the most personal moments of your life. But I've always felt there were certain aspects of your life that you wanted to keep private and wouldn't share in these videos. Uh, and I thought if you ever did make a video on this topic, you would talk about it more in the abstract than sharing your personal experience. That being said, uh, I want to thank you for sharing, not because I care about the personal details of your sex life, but the reason you gave. I know you said you weren't sure if you wanted to do this, but you thought maybe you could help someone, and I really respect that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a video this week, but what I've been saying to myself recently is if I am on the fence about whether or not to do something, I probably should do it. Not advice I would give to everyone, probably not even most people, but I feel I've missed out on too much avoiding things that make me uncomfortable. Um, and plus, isn't that what the naked truth is all about? Making ourselves feel uncomfortable and vulnerable, just putting ourselves out there. Okay, so this is probably the toughest video I've made since the first one I made. I have to say, since my first public video, I've actually done a few of my own dealing with my social anxiety, and I even thought about whether or not I would at some point discuss this topic, although it would have been much further down the line. Um, so this is something I don't really talk to people about. Only I've only discussed it with a couple of people, although people who know me well probably know this about me or at least suspect it. But I am a 42-year-old virgin. Uh, yeah, let that sink in. If you've watched enough of my videos, you probably realize that I'm not really good with people, and that especially applies when we're talking about attractive girls. Panic attack symptoms can start to set in, which makes romantic relationships very difficult. Uh, so I guess my answer to your question is yes, I think virginity is a big deal, at least when you reach a certain age. Sometimes people talk about a stigma attached to, you know, seeing a therapist or taking medication. Two things I don't have a big problem talking about, at least depending on who it's with. But maybe that's in part because I am seeing a therapist and on medication. But this is something I don't like to talk about. I feel at a certain age it's expected that you've had sex unless there are some other reasons, religious reasons or something like that. And I feel if people know that about you, you kind of become that guy. And I mean, they even make comedy movies about people like me. And I've always been someone who always been a little bit different. You know, different interests. I'm not into things a lot of people are into. I know I mentioned once a while ago, I don't even drink. I didn't do a video last week because I'm not really into music, and this is just something else. And would you feel different in too many aspects? And I think you said something about, it's, I heard you say something about, what makes us different is kind of what makes the world go around, but it's also what makes us, or at least me, not feel like I don't fit in a lot of times. I also feel most women don't want to be with a guy who's inexperienced, which just kind of makes it a vicious cycle. I also realize I probably worry a little too much about what other people think, but that's part of having the social anxiety disorder that I'm dealing with. Um, so I'd say there is a romantic part of me that loves the idea of meeting a girl, and it's the first time for both of us, and get married and live happily ever after. But let's face it, that's very unrealistic normally, especially when you reach my age. There's also the other part of me that just wants to find some attractive girl and just get it over with. So hopefully this doesn't come off too negative. I do want to say I feel I've come a long way in the last year. Well, this is not an obstacle I've cleared. Um, Last year at this time, you know, I had thought about making one of these responses to Nick and Truce, and I couldn't even do it privately. Now I'm doing a public video where I am discussing being a virgin. So there is definitely positive movement. Last year I probably would have said it'll never happen for me, and now I feel it will. I only feel it will probably never happen for me. Just baby steps. uh, I I guess ultimately why I decided to make this video. I guess similar reason to what you said. If there's one person out of the 10 or so who watch this who struggles with this, I hope maybe they see this and they don't feels alone, and maybe even at 42 and still being a virgin, I still have hope. But I hope if someone else is concerned about it, they can take something positive out of it. I also feel I should say I'm not suggesting people go out there and have sex to get it over with. This is dealing with my situation. I feel people should wait till they're ready. In fact, I think most statistics say people who tend to wait by choice tend to be a little more happier and have more satisfying relationships. But I guess whatever your choices, just don't be pressured. People shouldn't. I don't think people should feel pressured into it. And if they're gonna do it, be safe. So that's my story. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.